Greetings, and welcome to the Bowling Green First United Methodist Church. We hope that you enjoy what you're about to see, and you can find us on the corner of Broadway and Church Streets at 11 o'clock on Sunday mornings. Or you can find us at bgmethodist.org and on Facebook at Bowling Green First United Methodist Church.
I chose that passage today because the day he was walking towards Damascus, we saw the light. But I'll get back to that in a minute. What I'm going to continue on is my analogy, if you will, on my life and sin. If there's two things I know, it's Cardinals and sin. I'm not proud of that by any means. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to put a season of baseball as it affects my whole entire lifetime. So I hope you pull the message that I intend for you to pull. Okay? So here it goes. My first day of the season, I was on a team. I was drafted by this team and knew nothing else. Knew no other team. That team was called the Catholics. So I played by the rules. I did what I should do. You know, early in the season, you almost have to. Because I was innocent. I was young, fresh, didn't know any other way. But as years went by, you started seeing other players on the team, and even players from different teams. And you saw their habits weren't so good, so you adopted some of those habits into your everyday ball playing. You know? Do a couple here, do a couple there, and then pretty much after a while you've got a nice little collection of bad habits. Dipping your shoulders, or not going to practice on Sundays, or a lot of things. The more these collect and the more bad habits you learn from these other players, the easier it is to continue doing them and to not look at your manager. Because if you look at your manager, you think about your manager, then you automatically assume your manager is thinking about you. And by golly, you don't want your manager thinking about you when you're in the midst of all these bad habits. Out of sight, out of mind. He doesn't see you. He's not worried about you. So I did that. I did that for a long time. And then I didn't realize if that team wasn't right for me or if I wasn't right for that team. But I left that team. And for years, I went without being on a team. I still believed in baseball. I thought it was very important to believe in baseball, and I believed in the manager. But I really didn't act like I did. Not at all. So, one day, life threw me a huge curveball. And I swung as hard as I could. And I missed it. I missed it completely. I missed it totally completely. And it was such a bad miss that I thought I lost my battery game. And I didn't know what to do. I was lost. And try as I will, and try as I did, I just didn't feel like that we were on the same page anymore. So, what'd I do? I ran out the field, straight to the dugout, and hit that Gatorade cooler. And I hit it hard. I hit it real hard. And I was saturated. And when I was saturated, I continued to drink more of that Gatorade. To the point where the stadium guards threw me in the bullpen and said, you need to sit there for 12 hours, think about what you've done. So during 12 hours, which was actually 12 hours and 36 minutes, during that 12 hours, I hit my knees more than I had ever had prior to that. And I asked why. Why? That pitcher must have had some stuff on his hat or a file in his pocket because that stuff doesn't happen to Tom Thompson. And the more that I was on my knees, the more that I realized my battery mate didn't sin. I did. See, I've been in a rain delay for far too long. There's not a single solitary person in this room who can completely dodge the raindrops of sin, except for maybe Tom Thompson. But this time in my life, I was getting pounded on. I mean, it was raining so hard, and I was in a rain delay. I couldn't get out of it. No matter what I did, I couldn't get out of it. So 12 hours and 36 minutes later, security guards let me out. And my brother, who's also a good player, plays on a different team, but he's a great player. He picked me up. He taught me for a couple of hours. Didn't know what I was going to do. Didn't know where I was going to go. But I needed to do something. So I called one of my best friends, who still is one of my best friends, if not my best friend. I called him and I said, hey, can we talk? He said, we can, but I've got a game tomorrow, and I got to get up at 4 o'clock. So I talked to him till 3 o'clock that morning. And he said, Tom, he says, I want to introduce you to my pitching coach. I think he can work with you. I think he can solve your problems. So he handed me a slip of paper, shoved it in my pocket. He got up early the next day, and of course he had, a game prepared for him. I didn't so much. So I pulled that piece of paper out of my pocket, and I read it, and it said, Dr. Mike Gillett. His number on it. So I called Dr. Mike. And I said, Dr. Mike, I'm a broken man. I'm hurt, and I need your guidance. He said, sure. He said, come in Tuesday. I came in Tuesday. And he said so many things I didn't want to hear, but everything he said I needed to hear. That's for sure. And he said something that resonated with me more than anything that he said that day. He said, Tom, you need to get back on the team. You need to choose a team to play for. He said, I don't care if it's my team. I don't care if it's the team you were drafted by years ago. Or I don't care if it's the team across the street. You need to find a team. You need to get back in the game, son. So I said, okay. Sounds good. So after I left his office that was in the stadium that we're in now, I took a tour of the stadium. I looked around, empty, and I thought, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to come practice on Sundays. And it didn't have anything to do with the brick and mortar of the building. But it had everything to do with the life, and the breath, and the presence that was within those walls. And I knew I'd found home. I knew I'd found home. So that first Sunday I came in as a broken man. Many of you remember, because many of you were here. And I got up in front of all my new teammates, and many of you didn't know that I was auditioning or trying out for your team. But that's what I was doing. So I got in front of all of you, and I spoke to my teammates, and I said, listen, I'm broken, and I'm hurting, and I want you to help me through this. After church that day, I was approached by a couple team members. Didn't know me from anybody. Miss Chris Page was the first person to approach me. She said, absolutely nothing. She gave me a big hug, and I looked at her, and she had glossy eyes. Just short of a tear falling from her cheek, she had glossy eyes. She gave me a big hug. Next person to approach me was a teammate, Miss Retta Gladden. She approached me, and she stuck out her hand, and I grabbed her hand, and she quickly covered it with her other one, like she so often does. And she shared with me that you're going to be fine. And then right before I was getting ready to leave the stadium, I had this big old hand laying on my back. Huge. It felt like somebody had a catcher's mitt on. Put it right on my back. And I turned and I saw this big mountain of a man that I was sure was the cleanup hitter for this team. And he said 4 words to me that I will never forget. He said, you're going to be all right. And to this day, there's not a statement that I've heard prior to it or then, since then, that I believe more than that man. God rest his soul, Mr. Invincible. So I learned. So I came to practice every Sunday since. Dare not miss. I can't stand to miss. Because practice gets me ready for the 6 games that I'm going to play that week. And then practice again. Practice keeps me tethered to the game of baseball. Doesn't allow me to float out there like I know where I've been before. Doesn't allow me to do that. Scotty, I thank you for introducing me to the pitching coach. I am forever indebted to you, no matter what. Forever. So, I practice. I practice hard. Now, I'm not going to stand up here and tell you that rain doesn't come down on me. Because it sprinkles on me a little bit every day, and if the Cardinals are playing and a meteorologist is calling for a 50-50 chance of thunderstorms, I promise you that. However, I'm much better, okay? As you saw earlier, tomorrow I'll be 45. So I'll find myself at the R-square game this season. Am I a participant? Absolutely not. I don't have very good stats right now. But know this. I'm watching and I'm studying how these players play the game and do it the right way. And I hope and I pray and I vow that the second half will be much better than the first. And when I practice, so I don't even practice on Sundays anymore. Sometimes I practice when we're flipping pancakes for the community. Sometimes I practice when we're sorting beans or selling tickets. Sometimes I practice, more oftentimes I practice at home by myself or with my family. So, that is my transformation. That's why I chose this, from Saul to Paul. Because I'm not going to pretend like I know about Saul, a lot about Saul. I'm not. It's not who I am. However, I know Saul was a bad dude who saw the light and became a good dude. Okay? And that's what I want to resonate with you. The fact that people can change. Now, I promise you that probably every one of you can pick out a turning point in your life when you decided it's time to make that change. It's time to make that transition from Saul to Paul. Because just as he said, Mr. T, you were wonderful in helping with us. Mr. T, thanks. You're also a joy for being here today. He told me a month ago that he was going to be here to watch me. And he's a man of his word. I know he always has. But he told me, he says, Paul said, if walking through the darkness allows you to see him, then was walking through the darkness worth it? My answer is an emphatic yes. Because sin can beat you up. Or you can pull from sin the positive things about it. And you can shape yourself into his image. Not completely, because none of us are perfect. But it can develop you into being a person that your manager will be proud of. Who's going to throw you out there every game. So, and then there's people who think, well, I don't make those errors. I'm pretty darn good at what I do. Well, those are the people we've got to look out for. Because those people, I like to think of it as this. During the seventh inning stretch, you got this crazy guy that hops over the fence and runs in the outfield and does all these woo, 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 you know, things like this. I call those passing thoughts. Okay? Passing thoughts, somebody cut you off on the way to work. Send it. Okay? Passing thoughts, you know, a tractor person walks by you. There he goes across the field. Okay? You still got to go to your manager. Never think you're so close to your manager when in actuality you're miles away from him. So stay true to yourself, stay humble, and stay close to your manager. So, as I said, I'm hoping the next half of my season is much better. And I'll practice, continue to practice. I'll work on things, and when the ball gets in the dirt, I'm going to hit my knees. So thank you for everybody that was here when I first started here. Thank you for those people that stuck with me, who gave me the right amount of encouragement. Even though I am a pitching coach now, I never thought would fill Dr. Mike's shoes. Pastor John is an amazing man. He works on my techniques every day. And I'm so grateful for him as well, just as I am every single solitary one of you who are in this building today. I love you. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So, that's my sermon. Hope you like it.